When life knocks you down, and life will knock you down, try to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. Welcome to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. In my last video, I talked about how someone or a couple could earn $100,000 a year and pay 0% in taxes based on where they received their income from. In this video, we're going to talk about how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. It's very hard to do. A lot of people, nearly half of America lives paycheck to paycheck. In my research through Bank of America, I'm going to talk about who, what, and where of living paycheck to paycheck and how to get out of living paycheck to paycheck. But before I get into this video, I want to warn you that we may hear some sounds from outside because my lawnmower person is out there mowing the 2 acres in front of my house and the 1 acre behind my house. What does it mean, living paycheck to paycheck? Living paycheck to paycheck means that almost all of your income goes to your expenses. A lot of people think that this is just low-income people living paycheck to paycheck, but it's not. A lot of people making 6 figures live paycheck to paycheck. My struggle has been to get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. And I'm going to talk to you in this video about how to get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. According to Bank of America in 2024, 26% of households live paycheck to paycheck, which means they spend 95% of their income to pay for their essentials, which is rent, which is mortgage, car note, food. All of these items eat up 95% of their paycheck. If we loosen this number to 90% of their income, then 30% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. So how did we get into this paycheck to paycheck cycle? Part of it are rising costs. We saw inflation go up over the past few years at a really high rate. And we're seeing now eggs costing an astronomical amount of money. So these items rising is part of what causes this cycle. Another one is income stagnation. We're not getting pay raises that keep up with inflation. When you work for an employer and you get a 3% pay raise, I was getting a 1% pay raise for 10 years before I quit and retired from my job. 1%. Inflation was still going on, so I was losing money and had to work a second job during those 10 years just to try to keep up. Another thing is lifestyle creep. I did not have lifestyle creep because I didn't have the money to have lifestyle creep. But a lot of people, when they get the pay raise, they get a new car. I am guilty of doing that. I would get a pay raise and I would buy a brand new car. I did that at least 3 times. So I'm not perfect. I'm falling into that same paycheck to paycheck trap. Another thing that keeps people in this paycheck to paycheck cycle is debt. When you're running up credit card debt, student loans, when you have all of these debts, you are using up all of your income. So what you want to do is you want to start paying off your debts. That will help you to start getting out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. It may seem like lower income people are more affected by this because they just have less overall income. But 20% of people making $150,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. And why is that? That's because they are buying bigger mortgages. They are buying fancier cars. So even though they make a lot of money, their lifestyle is what is keeping them living paycheck to paycheck. Basically, trying to keep up with the Joneses next door. That's another thing. Never worry about what your neighbor is doing. Worry about what your house is doing. As a researcher, I wanted to show you a website where you can look up how far a paycheck goes based on the city where you might live. and different occupations. The National Housing Conference has a website where they have a database of different jobs, different salaries, and different cities. You can match these and they will give you a comparison of up to 5 different jobs so you can see what occupation may you want to study to go into to make more money that would stretch farther where you live. Let's get into how to stop and escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle. 1, track your spending. If you're not tracking what's coming in and what's going out, it just flies away. The second thing is cut your unnecessary expenses. We talked about lifestyle creep. A lot of people have many subscriptions to different services, and a lot of times there's some app called like Rocket Money that will check for forgotten subscriptions. A lot of people are paying every month for subscriptions they never use. So check those and cut that unnecessary spending. I don't spend on things that don't serve me. So no, I don't have a Netflix subscription. I don't have a Hulu subscription. I watch free YouTube. Now, I'm going to go a little bit off the rails on this one, but you need to build an emergency fund. I am very guilty of not building an emergency fund, and I'll admit that on my channel. However, in 2025, I'm going to start building my emergency fund. I have a very tiny emergency fund, but with the real estate that I'm buying, I really need to have a much larger emergency fund. And the credit union loaning me the money is now telling me I need to have a much larger emergency fund. So I guess it's time for me to grow up. Increasing your income. As I said, you can get a different occupation that will increase your income, and if you do not have lifestyle creep, you can stop living paycheck to paycheck and really increase your wealth. And that's what this is about. It's about increasing your wealth, increasing your net worth. But you've got to stop paying 90 to 95% of all the money that you bring in. Some of that money has to be saved and invested. I'll bet that you saw this next one coming. You've got to get out of debt. I have debt, but my debt are assets that bring me income. You don't want debts that are just debts, such as a depreciating asset. A car loan is a debt that just goes down in value. What you want is something like investments in stocks or something that will go up in value. Yes, you're putting money into it, but it's growing your money. Your money needs to make money while you sleep. Just know, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not alone. Many of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and it just takes small, consistent steps to get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Now I want to hear from you. In the comments, tell me, are you working to break out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle? Can you give us some tips on how we can get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle? Let's all help each other to do better financially. If you found this video helpful, please pass it on to other people, and please hit the like button and subscribe so that I can donate my YouTube proceeds to charity. If you've been a subscriber for a while, then you know that is my plan if I'm ever monetized. Just a little motivation here from Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. My quote of the day is coming from my father. He told me when I was younger, he said, name one thing that can't ever did. Remember, never let your past determine your future. Hi everyone, welcome back to Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle. In this video, what does it mean living paycheck to paycheck? What does it mean living paycheck to paycheck? Paycheck to paycheck is having your income and your expenses